The Adventures of Superman was one of my favorite cartoons on Saturday mornings back in 1996, Kids WB. Following the final season of Batman animated series, as these two were, I think it was an hour of DC animation, which had Superman, then Batman would come on. Definitely one of the landmark shows, one of the best iterations of Superman that I've ever seen. Also paved the way for Batman Beyond and Justice League and a ton of other projects that came out with DC, as well as their movies that they're still coming out with now, their animated titles. The one thing I want to talk about really quickly in this video is the fact that Lois Lane's skirt is very short. Especially in this episode, I believe it's episode 5, A Piece of Home. Basically deals with kryptonite. Superman comes to the realization that the green rock from his home planet can actually weaken him and kill him, and Lex Luthor exploits that in this episode. But that's not the main point of this episode that I'm making in this video. Is the point that Lois Lane's skirt is very short. You can see her legs right here. And the reason I'm really talking about is not being perverted, even though some of you probably say I am. I mean, Lois Lane is drawn very beautiful here. The animation for Superman, the animated series, is very good. It was actually done overseas by a Japanese company, I believe. I'm not sure the name. I didn't research it, I'm sorry. But yes, they did draw her very beautifully here. She's very sexy, very attractive, very feminine. The thing is, if you saw that new Superman that came out recently, I believe it's on Cartoon Network, HBO Max, wherever it is, Lois Lane is Asian there. She kind of looks Asian here, even though she's a white woman. But she's very attractive here as opposed to her other iteration, where she's wearing pants and jeans. In the world that we live in now, they don't want attractive women. So Lois Lane would never be able to wear this particular type of outfit again. Because in every single episode of Superman, if she wasn't wearing a red top with a short skirt, it would be a purple top with a short skirt, with a white skirt, I should say. And this one was a black skirt with a red top. So they would never do this again because they don't want women to be attractive. They want women to be pretty much unattractive to men, which makes no sense to me. Just remember that this show was made for kids, more so for a teenage audience. That's why there were some mature themes in this particular show. They even said a couple of times in the show, probably throughout the entire series, die, kill. That was something that I didn't really see when I was younger watching Transformers, G.I. Joe, and He-Man. They basically said, instead of kill, they would say, I'm going to destroy you. Destroy them, finish them, stuff like that. We would get the point, but they wouldn't say kill, die. But in this, they did, and the writing was so well done. It's one of the best series, like I said. Lois Lane was drawn very attractive. I'm not saying she hasn't been attractive in other interpretations of her throughout the DC universe, and it's different, different implementations of the character, implementations of the movies that they've made, the animated movies, but this is the best Lois Lane that I've seen. She acts just like she's supposed to act. She wants to get the story. She gets herself in danger. Superman has to get her out. Sometimes she can try to get herself out. She fights back, but she is still a damsel in distress to a point, not fully, okay, like the old days, but very attractive, very sexy, as I said. She's drawn really, really well. They're never going to draw Lois Lane like this again, have her look very sexy and attractive, because they don't want that, as I said. And I want to show you one more clip before I leave, because the star of this show was not the kryptonite. The star of this show was most definitely Lois Lane's legs. Someone had a lot of fun drawing those legs, I'm telling you. You will never see Lois Lane look that sexy ever again in any Superman TV show. I promise you. She'll be wearing pants, jeans. She'll be having the haircut like a feminist. She will not be looking as attractive as she's looked here in this series. Thank God that I have this series on DVD. Thank God I just bought it again recently on Blu-ray. They released it a couple of years ago. I just got it on Blu-ray now, and I'm loving it all over again. But they're never going to do Superman the way they did this ever again. It's never going to be the same. I'm so thankful that we have these shows to go back on and watch from the good old days, before they decided to ruin TV, before they decided to ruin beautiful, attractive characters like Lois Lane here, the way she's drawn, the way she looks. They don't do it like this anymore. I mean, Superman to a point is still going to be Superman in any television show that he's in, but they're going to water him down. really got to do a lot of things in his own show here. He got to bust things up. He got to show his true powers and stuff like that. A lot of villains from the comic books made their appearance in these particular episodes. This particular amazing show. And I know I'm not alone, because many people that I knew growing up, and even people that I talk to now, if I actually mention the show, they have fond memories of this show and Batman animated series particularly. So we're never going to get an iteration of Lois Lane like this again. I'm glad that I have the DVDs and the Blu-ray now to go back on and watch, to a time that it was great, a time that we had nothing like this, political agenda nonsense going on. Women have to look a certain type of way. Lois Lane is an attractive woman. She's going to dress like an attractive woman. She's not dressing like a whore. She's not dressing like a slut. She's looking attractive, and she's eye candy for the guys, for the young men, and the male audience basically that are watching this. She is the eye candy. She's Superman's love interest. She is the one that we're going to be looking at most of the time. When she's in danger, he's saving her, and she's attractive, resourceful, very beautiful, and she tries to get herself out of situations herself, even so sometimes she doesn't, but they don't want Lois Lane like this anymore. They may have still made her look somewhat attractive in some of the animated movies that have come out thus far, but if they ever did a television show on this scale again, I think there's like 53 to 55 episodes of this particular series, they would never do it the same. Because as I said, the new one that came out, Superman and Jimmy Olsen, and that new Lois Lane, she's Asian. I don't care what nationality she is. They don't have her looking attractive. She doesn't look anything like this Lois Lane. She's not an attractive Lois Lane. She's a plain Jane, and she has the feminist mindset, and that ruins the female character for me. In closing, I want to say this. It's not perverted for a man to want to see a woman look attractive, for a woman to be in a mini skirt, for a woman to look sexy. It's not a man being a pervert. It's nothing wrong with it. Women are attractive. Women should wear things that make them look even more attractive. We don't need them to dress like prostitutes. We don't need them to dress like whores and sluts. If they want to wear a dress like this to make themselves even more feminine, even more sexy, then fine. No problem. I don't understand why we live in a world where this is looked upon as if it's evil. There's nothing wrong with this. There was nothing wrong with it back when this came out. It shouldn't be anything wrong with it now, but because of the world we live in and the idiots that run it, that's what we face. Anyway, as I said before, I'm saying it for a third time, I'm glad I have this show on DVD and recently now on Blu-ray. I'm glad that I have these shows that stand the test of time. These are shows that came out in a world before this nonsense that we have to deal with now. See you guys soon.